Hello and welcome back to Liberty, Missouri for Gatekeeper and Heiser Media's combined coverage of Grip Equipment's 42nd Kansas City Wide Open presented by DFX Discs. This is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Q Series event. We're super excited to bring you this coverage. I'm Nathan Johnson, joined in the booth today by Dan Brooks Wells. How's it going, Dan?
Doing really good out here. We got some fun golf to watch. It's a little bit hot, and you got to watch out for the wind.
Yeah, some hot scores on our card to match the weather from Chris Clemons and Jake Hebenheimer going bogey-free on the front nine. Silas, Shultz, and John Jones looking to pick it up back here on the back nine. Some good scores so far out on the course. Freddie Meza and GT Hancock leading the way so far, but we still got 9 holes at least on this feature card. And we'll jump right into it here at Bad Rock Creek.
And we are starting at a challenging hole, hole 10, par 3, 487 feet. There's a layup zone, and then there's a go for it zone. OB all around. So you really got to choose what you want to do. A lot of these guys have the power to make it there because it is downhill, so it's probably playing more like 450, 460. And Chris doesn't want anything to do with it. So this is a common play, just laying up and pitching up and over and taking your par and walking away.
Yep, nice safe play from Clemons. You can see too, we saw it on the front nine. A little bit blustery out there today, a little bit windy. Jake going with the aggressive shot as he likes to do, but this one is not going to land inbounds.
So if you do go early left into those trees, it's not OB, but it's tough to get out and up and down for your par. So this is, I was going to say the good mistake to make, but that one does find OB.
Just leaked out a little left, maybe a little deep for Silas. Does find that out of bounds. Saw some struggles from John Jones on the front nine. Just some tough breaks, honestly. Like bad kicks. Found himself in a lot of unscrambleable spots. So we'll see if the local can turn it around here on the back. That one leaks left. They're going to be in a similar spot to Jake in those right side rough, left side rough, I should say.
Yeah, and here is the upshot by Clemons. Standard shot, but you gotta take your time on all these.
Yeah, well thrown. So far looking like that was the right decision. Yeah, how this is going for the rest of the card. You just see this whole course has some thick rough.
It really does. And that is a fantastic up from where he was. There's not much over there. But yeah, and as far as Chris's play, like this is definitely a bonus birdie. Ooh, a little nose-up spinner.
That was a good out from Hebenheimer as well. Silas now, after going out of bounds on his drive, this is to save the par, and out of his hand, he just knew.
And if you watch the front nine, you would know that he was short on a lot of his putts. See if he can get it up here on this back nine. Kind of get his round going.
Yeah, just not quite having the commitment out of the hand he needs. That spin and pop. Bit low for Jones as well. Only 9 birdies on this hole on the day. So, like you said, Dan, definitely a bonus pickup.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy one. And here is Hebenheimer to save his par.
Slight tailwind drops that one under the band and in. Good par save from over there in the woods.
Chris, looking at a kind of a headwind putt. Maybe 20 feet here, 15 feet.
Which I think for a putting style like his can, at least for me, who has not quite as drastic of a nose down putt, but similar, tough to gauge where to aim with a headwind like that. Usually it's going to drop your disc because it's so nose down, but with that very low to high putting style, sometimes you can get weird wind lifts. And I'm sure he's a seasoned professional at this point. He knows what to do, but those are still testers.
And here we are, hole 11. This is a par 3, 383 feet. A little bit of an elevated green, and plays like a peninsula. So there's OB left, OB right, OB behind it. But it's really about getting off this tee here, so you can throw kind of like a flex-ish type shot. So anything inbounds through the gap is fine.
Yep, Chris going for that flex line that you talked about.
It's got a hole.
Got a little turn. Oh, actually goes OB long. Surprising result.
Yeah, it's touchy. I mean, you're so focused on hitting the gap with enough power to actually get there that, you know, going a little left or right is not your biggest priority.
Yeah, this OB is very tight on a hole like this, especially with this demanding of a line. It's hard to get the stability right to keep that inbounds with that out of bounds, probably less than 40 feet from the basket.
And you can see Silas is lining up like a very steep Anheuser.
Pop it. Come on.
Yeah, I think this is an FD3.
Okay, yeah. Sit down. Oh. Count it. That's in.
Wow. The 50-50 trick shot from the disc going for the grind and just barely stays inbounds. That is a great break for Silas. As we see a nice looking line from Jones out of the hand. Gets that late stability too. Checks up with a birdie putt.
Yeah, it's looking good. Gives himself like a tailwind putt as well. So, good side of the basket.
First,
these guys, I was going to say, these guys have headwind putts for their par. And Hebenheimer is able to knock it down. That's a solid strike right there.
Yeah, big time par save. Keeps him bogey free. Up to this point, Silas, after the good break to stay inbounds, has a birdie putt. And low left sticks it. Maybe that's the putt he needed to get himself moving in the right direction. Get some confidence back.
Not for nothing. I know I'm going to go back to Hebenheimer. I know that he's only at 2, but having a bogey-free round at this course is pretty incredible. Even up to this hole. Here's Clemons to do the same, I believe.
Yeah, tough head crosswind putt for him to save the par from circle's edge. Oh, and floats it in.
Very nice. There's Chris having a solid round. Keeps it going here.
Yep, Jones now. This is for a birdie. Just
down.
A bit right.
Yeah, it's a good sit. These discs can get squirrely on this hill. But he will have to settle for the par as we go into hole 12. Very interesting hole 12. This is a par 4, 652 feet. As you can see, you can barely walk through this gap. But you're taking it straight all the way down, getting to this landing zone, and then have another straight gap out and up into this pin. It's very two difficult shots. Very, very difficult to execute these.
Is this the is that Mando on the left, the Gannon-Burr hole?
It is. Yep, this is the Gannon-Burr Mando hole. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the Silver Series coverage from last year, that Mando was not there in round 1, and Gannon-Burr took advantage of that fact and took a whole different route. But this year, the players are forced to throw down this tunnel, and Silas, with a really great tee shot, makes it most of the way, catches a late tree, but he should still be in position from there.
Yeah, you might be thinking that left side is, it's open. That's a sucker's gap. Don't take that left side. But these guys probably know better. Nope, didn't get the flip up.
Yeah,
I think you got a good kick back out to the right, though.
Yeah, he'll have like a step out forehand with the lefty. From there, should be okay to scramble and get back into position. Not the worst break.
Yeah, so in years past, too, this... No, not at all. In years past, this was a par 5, so it didn't seem so monstrous, but just changing the par, I know it doesn't change the hole, but it changes the player's mindset. And a lot of people, instead of throwing like a putter or a mid off the tee like they would before, now they're ripping fairways to like get up and into that pushing gap.
Not a bad shot from Jones, just overturns it the slightest bit. Kind of dries up a bit early. So none of these guys in the prime spot, but nobody completely out of position. Just going to take some creativity here on the second. I think that's the third or fourth forehand roller we've seen out of Jake so far in this round. Yeah. But for the most part, they've worked out for him. That one wasn't too bad either.
Yeah, if you don't get off the tee on this one, I see a lot of forehand rollers. It just shapes up well. Chris here, though, a little slow turn. This looks beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, not a shot you see him throw very often, but that was well executed.
This is actually a pretty good spot to be. Oh, and he does just pull it. Maybe having that tree on his left side, like kind of in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's
another forehand roller.
Number whatever one more than the last one was. But that one was not as good as the previous couple. Catches a tree on the right-hand side and going to be looking at his first bogey of the day, barring a throw-in.
Silas wisely pitching out to the middle. He'll probably have like 150 feet from there.
Yep, here's John now. Back in position. Should just have a nice putter upshot into the green.
Ooh, nice little flip up.
Is that John Doe or no?
He's good with those touch floaty mids.
Yeah, and after that pitch out, Silas in a nice spot here. Just has a nice controlled putter up into the green.
Yeah, I really like what he did. This hole can get really tricky if you try to get cute. Executed it perfectly.
Yeah, was never in really danger, especially with taking the conservative pitch out on his second rather than trying to do something aggressive. And he'll be rewarded for it. Jake with a good shot there that'll keep the damage to just a single bogey for him.
Yeah. And this is not a surprise to anyone. This did play as the hardest hole in the course.
Yeah, the former par 5 scored as a par 5,
yeah,
which is not too surprising. But that shot was surprising from Chris. You don't see too many misreleased forehands from him. And I think we're going to see both his and Jake's first bogeys of the round now.
This is the one to do it, right? Like, this is definitely a gauntlet to get through. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the change from a 5 to a 4. Again, I think it's just the mindset of the players. Definitely felt like an eagle if you got the 3. But, you know, game's changing, game's progressing. Holes become more demanding. Hole 13, par 3, 364 feet uphill. OB basically lining the entire way. Don't look at that short basket there. We're going to the long basket, which, I mean, this is basically playing like an island because everyone's going for the green.
Yeah, not really worth a layup. Only 364 feet. But you still got to stick it close. Silas, I think, just going mid-range.
Yeah. If you got the power, you definitely can get the glide here. And you... Ooh. Oh, my gosh. What a play. He smoked that. Unreal. I mean, with the mid-range. But I like if you could do the mid range, I like it because a lot of drivers will hyzer out or just like dump early, and you'll find like this OB. So with the mid, not a lot of left to right movement.
Ooh, John just barely sneaks it over that tall grass on the right-hand side. Checks up in circle 1 as well. That was a nice shot.
And I like the lefty backhand on this. For the righty, there's like a tree that can get in the way, but open skies for Clemons.
Oh, come on, right to left.
Just needs to check
set.
up. But does not hold on. Finds that out of bounds. Going to have another about circle's edge par putt coming up.
Going to see a forehand out of Hebenheimer here. Definitely got to aim a little bit more left than what Clemons did.
Oh no!
Yeah, that one is looking very similar and almost an identical result.
Yeah.
Gets that same skip out of bounds.
The good news is they're not too far for their par putt. The bad news is it's a par putt.
Yeah, we'll call this one about a 28-footer. And just a tad low for Jake. It's a tough one. I'm sure both of these guys are licking their chops on a hole like this with all that room out on the left-hand side. But made the same mistake.
Nathan, do you think about this? So they were both OB, and they're using their feet to get it, their mark. As Chris just ends up a little short here as well. People who have giant feet have an advantage. They get to be closer.
This is true. I think, but there is some element of it. You got to know how big your feet are, because I think some people 3-foot steps and then like they give themselves like another couple inches after that, knowing that their feet do not make up a full meter. But you're right. If 3 steps for you is more than a meter, then yes, you're right. There's a slight advantage there. A little high for John.
Just things I think about.
I would be lying if I said I didn't think about it. I have seen some FPO players do like 3.5 steps, which I think is probably a little more accurate for women with smaller feet. It's a nice birdie putt from Silas.
Yeah, there you go.
The only one on the card.
Gets it up and in. Maybe he's sick of missing low. A little bit more of a confident bid, I would say.
Yeah, still got plenty of time to put a good round together, too. This is a tough course, as we saw from the scoreboard check-in. So anything in that 4 to 5 under range still puts you in contention.
Yeah, and he's throwing the disc really well. It's just the putts that he's missing. A lot of them are for birdie, so it's not like a disaster round, but a couple strokes here and there he could have tagged on, just like anybody could. A couple of bogeys here for Hebenheimer and Clemons, and that's back-to-back bogeys for both of them. But we're moving on to hole 14. This is a par 4, 859 feet. This tee has changed since last year. Kind of an arcing shot here out of the gap, trying to get somewhere around here and pitching down to this basket. OB left, OB right, OB pond behind. So interesting shot. Like you want to go up and to the right as much as you can, but you have to push it straight a good amount before it starts turning. In the past, you could just like launch an anhyzer down that hill.
A little more controlled now. Nice shot from Silas. Just kind of plays a soft hyzer, pushing hyzer into the hillside.
Yeah, it seems like instead of guys risking it on the first shot, they're going to be risking it on the second shot a little bit more.
Get through.
Which makes sense for these two backhand players. I think maybe we'll see a forehand out of Jake.
Potentially. But you'd rather go OB left off this tee, because then you can at least have a shot into the green. If you go OB right, I mean, you're just really pinched off.
Yeah, this is true. Even Chris going to opt for the lefty flick.
Yeah.
Play into that wide part of the fairway.
You know, and you're higher up on the hill to the left as well. So these shots are most likely going to be blind coming into the pin. But you got an advantage up there.
Yep, so Jake going with the backhand as well. A little more of a hyzer stand-up play. And that's well thrown.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, this doesn't seem like a go for it type of a spot. Where to go?
Just comes up a bit short. Like you said, not really a go for it, I think. Just trying to get around the corner, play it safe, and maybe give yourself a long look. This might be a go for it,
This, yeah, I think so. We'll have to see where this ends up if it flexes out. Oh, it does go too far to the right, maybe catching one of those pines early before it flexed out. And he will end up OB. We'll see what kind of spot they give him.
It might be hard to tell once they get around the corner. Jake going forehand. This is a big shot still to get into the green, but has a pretty good move on it and does stay in bounds. But that is an absolutely terrifying putt to run.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's going to run that one. We'll see. Silas not in position to go for it. You can kind of see there's a drop zone there. There is a Mando too, so these guys can't just like crush it over the right side. Makes you play the fairway. And that tree that we kind of saw to the right, that's kind of an aiming point. If you just duck into the right of it, you know you're safe. This is a touchy upshot, though, because it's pretty far downhill, and the basket's not too far away from the pond.
Yeah, and Chris comes up quite a bit short, actually. That looks like shallow circle, too. So he'll have a decision coming up.
And this is just a pitch up from Silas, I'm sure. No need to get fancy.
Yep.
And I believe they even... Nope, this basket was elevated. So they kept it how it was, and they put those nice little rocks there. You know, those little touches. Those little touches are awesome. That was a run.
Yeah, floaty bid definitely from John. Had the height, but sticks it close with the koi. And a little pitch up from Jake as well. So let's see what Chris does here.
I feel like he has to go for this. It's just
no.
Maybe not. I thought he was a little closer, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think that was in that 35, 40 foot range. I guess if you're not feeling it.
Yeah, and that hurts. You know, he's taken 3 bogeys in a row now, but you know, it could have been a double, or a triple. So it is what it is.
This was the second hardest hole on the course at a 5. This averaged a 5 on the dot with only 4 birdies. So
yeah, that tee pad change that was huge, because this was like a get your birdie hole last year. So definitely wanting to push the disc a little further off the tee. We'll see how our players do it in the coming rounds. I'm actually excited to see that. Oh, and this was a double bogey from Clemons. All right, hole 15. This is a par 3, 288 feet. You can take the right side if you want, but most people are taking this left side over the pond OB and kind of skipping it into this green. Just trying to make sure you get it over. Maybe Silas is proving me wrong here.
I think this is a mutant, which is a wildly overstable disc. So I think he's just trying to go down that right side. Oh, but just pulls it.
Great kick. That second
He
one.
likes
So
the Not the worst result. If he gets into that right side, I mean, that's going to be a tough save. You see a lot of forehands through this left side gap. There's like 2 trees to beat. You can see, so I was going to say, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you can see where he's placing his last step, getting the angle that he needs.
Let's go.
Perfect.
Gets a bit of a skip, but stays within the circle. I was just going to say it's kind of an ace run type hole where you don't want to come up short, so you might as well just get aggressive on the tee shot. A bit of a backstop behind the basket as well. John going backhand, though.
This backhand is a tricky shot.
Yeah, and he just pulled it a bit. Stays in bounds, though.
It's really hard not to pull it, I think, with the backhand. You got to have, if you're throwing that, you got to have something pretty flippy that you're trusting to kind of ride straight for a while.
Ooh, and this is pulled out of the hand from Clemons. And now in a very tough spot. Probably just has to pitch out.
Oh, man. Chris going through a tough stretch here. Should be able to get up and down from where he is to save his bogey, but you never know with this green. There's a nice shot by Jones. He's going to be able to save his par there.
Yeah, so Silas took the safe play off the tee, but now he just has to pitch it over the water anyway. Seems to be inevitable on this hole. Nice little pro backspin there.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps him close.
That's kind of big. That spin's kind of big because that becomes a daunting putt back at the basket.
Yeah, like this one. Downhill at the water for Jake from about circle's edge, 30 feet. Oh, a bit low left.
Sit.
Does
okay.
check up. But that putt definitely could have dropped.
Yeah. That was like a 50-50er. Silas here, after getting the good break off the tee, is able to get up and down to save his par. And this was another hole that was one of the more birdied holes, and expectedly so. And our card has not taken advantage of that.
Yeah, these shorter par threes are definitely ones you want to at least give yourself a couple of looks on. But yeah, these guys are just struggling to get out the gap for the most part.
Yeah. And being really hot, being in the 90s, as Chris is able to tap in his bogey, being in the 90s, grip is an issue. Whether it's sweating too much or too much chalk because of your sweat. So you never know if that comes into play. Hole 16, par 5, 959 feet, tight tunnel out the gap, OB left, woods to the right, getting it up and over this hill and down and into this bottleneck green. Really got to get your disc pushing through this gap to have a chance to get in for your birdie. Now, this is a risk reward here. It's like, do you focus on the gap or do you focus on trying to get this distance up the hill?
I think if you're Silas, you try to get greedy and go for both. And oh baby, this is smoked.
Let's go. Yeah, and he's like up on the flat, which is impressive because now he can just blast one and try and get down towards that bottleneck as best he can. I would assume Jake is trying to do the same thing.
Looking for a similar line, going with that high hyzer flip. Doesn't quite get as much flip up. And does leak into the out of bounds left.
Yeah. Yeah, that OB comes up quick over there. And it stays like that kind of the whole way.
Yeah, not the worst mistake, as he will still have a chance to save the par, but that is not a good one for Jones. Kicks left and finds the out of bounds.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. This is going to be OB as well. Yeah, and if Jones here, he must have found the water. Going to this drop zone, which is the short tee. I believe that'll be fine. It looked like it hyzered out before it got into the woods. So this actually plays really good for the lefty backhand. Open skies out to the left, and you're trying to land it in the fairway. He does leak a little bit to the right into the rough.
Yeah, so a bit of Army golf now for Clemons.
Yeah.
Silas, though, in a great spot.
So this is that yellow one he's been throwing. So this flips for him. So steep hyzer, low, let it flip. And I think he either got on it too much, but I think the real thing is he didn't trust it out to the left enough.
Yeah, it looked like it did fight through the right side a little bit to get him down there. But now being off the fairway, it's going to be tough to get a putt for the birdie. Looks like Jake is also going to get aggressive here.
I want that to flip, but it's not going to. Probably not a terrible result, though, if he pushed in enough. We'll have to see where he ended up. I like this if it flexes.
Oh, and it does.
Let's
Catches
go.
a late tree, but what a shot from John Jones. Giving himself an outside chance to save his score on the 16th after a really tough tee shot.
Chris having to pitch up and out, that's not really a I don't believe he's that close to the pin. He might have like a long jumper, but Silas here, not much. Looks like he's looking at the cut roller.
Yeah, bold strategy from that close, and
I
it
don't
doesn't
know about
work out
that.
for him.
Yeah, and this is that, like, do I jump it? Do I throw it? Chris opts for the little throw, little pitch up, and that'll be fine.
Jake's shot worked out fairly well over here in the left side rough, but nice easy pitch up will give him a short putt for the par after that OB drive.
Yeah, and I guess that's why you go for the power off the tee, especially if you have it. You know, he was so far up that he could just blast one into these woods to save his par.
Shot, you know.
Just a pitch up for Shultz. He'll have a tap-in par for himself as well. And yeah, after that great shot from Jones, has this outside look. Save, I believe, a bogey. Just a bit low.
That might have been to save his par.
3, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
he
par 5.
smoked. Yeah, he smoked that fourth shot.
He basically would have eagled it from the drop zone, which would have been a par. So just a bogey. Not a bad result.
Even to have the opportunity to have the 5 is good going. I know it didn't work out this time, but good 2 shots to have an opportunity. Unfortunately, Chris will continue his bogey streak. Just a rough back 9. After like just a great front 9, but that's what this course can do to you out here, and this hole is no different. This is hole 17, par 4, 461 feet. Tied again off the tee, dog leg, pretty much a direct dog leg to the left, 90 degrees, maybe even a little bit more than 90 degrees back up and into this green. So you're trying to get straight pretty much as far as you can. You don't want to go too far because it drops off. So I see a lot of mid-range plays.
Silas going to tempo down on that same yellow fairway driver, looking to get a little ground play around the corner.
Yeah,
executes that nicely. Yeah.
Doesn't make the cameraman move. Doesn't make him turn. Perfect.
Another flick roller off the tee from Jake.
Yeah. So this is what I did, and I love to see someone else do it.
And it works out great. Dan, how do you know all these local lines? You're not even from Kansas City, man. Who are you talking to? Which locals are you paying off to get this insider knowledge?
All of them. And Jones finds that deep drop off that I was talking about. So he'll still have a shot up and into the green, just a little bit more difficult.
Simple little forehand from Clemons. It's on a nice line, gets a nice skip as well.
Perfect.
Probably the only one.
Pocket.
So now a lot of these guys, they're looking at a pretty uphill shot into this green. It's decently guarded. See if they can work something through.
Yeah, forehand roller for Jones. Doesn't quite put it on enough cut to climb the hill.
Oh, and he catches the one to beat, but these guys are in prime spots.
Yeah, it's been surprising. Like, Chris was just cooking on the front, and just for some reason he's just lost the forehand touch on the back 9, which for a guy like him that relies so heavily on it is a tough thing to have happen. Nice up
Silas.
shot from Shultz. Turning his round around nicely.
Yeah, definitely making some putts. Silas has been doing now. Hebenheimer with this forehand flex shot makes the gap the most open up the hill.
Oh, and he hits the basket again.
Seeking some eagles out here.
Definitely a shot you can run with the uphill. Backstop behind it. No reason to come up short.
Unfortunately, no eagles on the day. Maybe tomorrow. These guys are
good
just
pitch ups from these guys. Yep. Good birdie putt from Shultz. Knocks it down. Gets himself to 2 under.
Hebenheimer doing the same. Yeah, if you can get off the tee off this one, you're definitely looking to put down the bird.
Second easiest hole on the course, 4.11 average. So I would agree, and the stats would agree with you as well.
Gotta love those stats. This is hole 18, par 5, 924 feet. Trying to rip one off this tee up this hill as far as you can get. Once you do that, you got to be careful of this OB. You can either pitch up before it, or you can try and clear it and get into this green. This is an eagleable hole. It's really about how far you get off the tee. And you know,
looks like Silas is going big.
Oh, yeah. And I know it looks downhill, but it's not. Where he's throwing is level with him or even a little uphill.
That's pretty good.
Oh my god, that's absolutely
Dude.
smushed.
Yeah, that's eagle range right there.
I don't know if you can throw the drive much better than where Silas just put it.
We might find out on this one.
I was gonna say, if anybody can prove us wrong, it's gonna be Jake Hebenheimer.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god, he's going huge.
Flex out.
Wow.
Oh, he's got distance, but it's a little right. But there are gaps in there. Like, that is another path to go. So we'll have to see what he has.
Come on, Bones. Get up there,
And
Bones.
guys, just to give you a little reference, like, this is a smoke shot by Jones as well. Just getting up to the flat on this hole is good. And these guys are throwing it like 80 to 100 feet past.
Yeah, Chris is going to show us what like a nice controlled, I would assume, like 430 to 50 foot hyzer looks like.
Yeah.
And Silas is 100 feet past that.
Yeah. Chris is going to probably lay up short of the OB and then pitch over and take his par. Or no, take his birdie because this is a par 5.
Yeah, no need to do anything too crazy here. That's a great shot through the trees there. Keeps himself in position. Jones probably going to look to do the same thing.
Yeah, you can see there's like a little bubble out there for that second landing zone. But here we are. Let's see it.
Silas Shultz going to go for the green on the par 5 18th. A bit overturned. There is room over there, so that is nice and safe inbounds.
Yeah, that's a shot, dude. That's C2. He's really not that far away.
Yeah,
And you can see
Jake,
Hebenheimer, he's just too far he kind of just too far to the right. I don't know if this is a go for it.
Yeah, definitely not. It had the distance, just a bit overturned off the tee and put him in a tough spot to where didn't really have a choice but to just pitch out. So some important upshots still crossing OB for most of the flight. Got to put this one close. Nice shot from Jones. Going to end his round on a high note.
And then
Very nice there. And this, this is a cool hole to end on. Like I said, it's definitely eagleable for those big arms. But for everyone else, you can tactically make your way up the fairway for a birdie. Hebenheimer trying to throw probably an overstable putter here and spike it in. The OB does come up quick behind the basket. It's probably only like 25 feet.
Yep, does not have to worry about it.
That'll be great.
Have a drop-in birdie coming up, but first, Silas Shultz got about a 60-footer for a nice little eagle to end his day.
come on, Proctor. Come on!
Oh my God.
An inch short. Gotta applaud the effort.
I'll tell you what, if he has the same opportunity tomorrow, he is not leaving it short. And that is a solid birdie putt by Clemons to end his day. Not the back half that he would have wanted, but we still have 2 more rounds to go.
And although Silas was not able to connect, we do have to give a shout out to Jake Mon, the sole eagle on hole 18 on the day. And a nice little star frame for our lead card to finish out this round 1 of the Kansas City Wide Open. It was a bit of a roller coaster, Dan.
Oh yeah, challenging course. You cannot sleep on any of these holes. And here are the results for the back 9. Shultz putting a 3 down for the back 9 here. And
as we take a look at the rest of the
fun,
leaderboard, GT Hancock 2 strokes ahead of the field at 7 under. He will be joined by those 3 guys you just saw on the leaderboard. Thank you to Elevation Discs for supporting this coverage, and thank you all for watching. We've got 2 more rounds of this Disc Golf Pro Tour Q Series coming up for you this weekend, so make sure to subscribe to both Gatekeeper and Heiser Media's YouTube channels so you don't miss any of that coverage. We will see you back here in Kansas City for round 2 tomorrow.